Hello and welcome to this lecture series on the Roman Empire. We're going to begin with part one, the birth of Rome. Before the Romans, the Etruscans ruled the northern half of the Italian peninsula. The Romans will eventually grow and overtake the Etruscans. And the thing we'll find with Rome is that Rome has a tendency to take the ideas of the peoples that they conquer and integrate them into their own society. They're not really known for inventing things of their own, just taken from their conquest. Even the use of a toga. The Romans call themselves the people of the toga, but they likely actually borrowed that from the Etruscans. But by 264 BCE, Rome and its unique geographic position is going to poise it for a series of empire building, and it will cause it to eventually conquer pretty much the entirety of the Mediterranean Sea. Now, as usual, when we take a look at these empires, the first thing we're going to want to do is take a look at the geography, right? Geography always plays a role on whether or not some region can turn into some kind of budding empire. Rome is no exception, right? Rome is going to find itself in a very easily defendable place, right? You have water on three sides, the east, the west, and the south. So unless you are some kind of naval power, it's very difficult for you to crack into Rome from that direction. Then there's two mountain ranges that are going to play a role in Roman history. One of them is another good geographic barrier, the Alps to the north, right? Very tall mountains, very difficult to cross. This means that Rome itself is going to be on the Italian peninsula, which is very easily defended. The other mountain range is the Apennine mountains that run down the Bud itself. That makes Rome itself Rome and the Italian peninsula very hilly, right? So that means that you have, as far as areas that are really good for agriculture, they're coastal regions. Now, Rome itself is set in one. The Latium plain is an important arable expanse which Rome itself will be built around. To the south there in the Bay of Naples, you have the Campania plain. And then finally to the north, where the Etruscans were centered, you have Etruria, that plain as well, right? So you have these regions here. Now, the other thing that Rome has going for it as far as empire building, geographically speaking, is just its location in the Mediterranean itself, right? Rome itself is set 15 miles inland on the Tiber River at its first natural fjord, right? But then it's in the center of the Italian peninsula, and it's in the center of the Mediterranean Sea. So it's got this nice central location in order for you to build an empire from, right? It's at a natural choke point. You've got the very important island of Sicily straight there to the south, and then it's a very short expanse to the North African coast, right? And so you have a spot that if you can control this region, you can effectively control all the movements in the Mediterranean Sea itself. Now, when we take a look at the actual founding of Rome, we have an actual traditional date, right, that's based on Roman records. The official founding of Rome, according to Roman history, was April 21st, 753 BCE. I mean, that's pretty precise, right? This is the starting point of the Roman calendar. Every year, that's year zero for the Romans, right? The subsequent history of Rome can be broken into three major categories. First, we have the time period of 753 BCE to 509 BCE, which was the time Rome was ruled by kings, mostly Etruscan, right? Then we have the period of the Republic, that's just shy of 500 years long, from 509 BCE to 31 BCE, when Rome had a semi-democratic form of government. And then finally, we have the Age of Empire from 31 BCE to, well, at least 400 years. The actual official end of the Roman Empire is very debatable, depending on who you listen to and which historical records you want to accept and what you really categorize as the end of the empire, right? And that's something we can get into later, right? As far as archaeological evidence goes, there's evidence that Rome had been inhabited, or that region at least had been inhabited since at least around 1000 BCE. There's no actual contemporary evidence of the founding of Rome except for that stated date. The only real evidence we have is based on legend, the foundation of it, and it's based on two twin brothers, Romulus and Remus. Romulus and Remus were allegedly the offspring of Mars, the god of war, right? And they were raised by a friendly she-wolf with the help of a helpful woodpecker, right? Now, both of these animals, by the way, are associated with Mars, right? The god of war. Okay. Now, when the two boys, Romulus and Remus, became adults, they decided to build a city on the spot where the wolf had found them. This is where modern Rome is, right? And after they had built the city, they began to argue about who should be king, right? Now, the result of this argument was that Romulus killed Remus and declared himself king. And this is your founding of the city of Rome, or at least in legend. And what better way to found this than with a little bit of fratricide, right? Um, Now, in reality, Rome was a series of tiny little thatched hut villages, according to archaeological evidence. And for a long time, it was dominated by the Etruscans, right? The Etruscans were based north of Rome. And when you take a look at these time periods where you had the Roman kings, they historically have Etruscan names, right? Almost half of the 7 legendary kings of Rome are Etruscan in origins, right? Like, for example, the Etruscan city of Tarquinia, when we talk about the fall of the Roman kings, you'll notice that the name of the Roman king, that last Roman king, takes his name from that city, Tarquinia. Okay. Now, despite the Roman resentment of the Etruscans, they do copy a lot of the things from them. One I've already mentioned before, the adoption of the toga, right, which was a mark of the Roman citizen, right? The use of gladiatorial combat, that was part of funeral rites for Etruscan leaders, right? And that's something that the Romans will adopt. And also temple architecture, divination through the examination of animal organs are all things the Romans are going to borrow from the Etruscans.